Let me ask you about the president's choices for his cabinet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember a time when the opposing party has opposed every single person that the president nominates for his cabinet. It's usually been the rule, if the president's going to be in charge of the government, we have to give him the people he wants to run it. But Republicans seem to be against every single person that he has nominated this time around.
All right, that was CBS News anchor Bob Schieffer on Face the Nation. That was yesterday. And while he, along with many on the left, may be confused as to why Republicans are raising concern with all four of President Obama's cabinet nominees thus far, we here on this program, we're not. I want to clear this up for Bob Schieffer and the rest of the liberal media. We'll start with the nomination of John Brennan, a CIA director, who said we should not call terrorists jihadists. Oh, really? Listen.
Nor does President Obama see this challenge as a fight against jihadists. Describing terrorists in this way, using a legitimate term jihad, which means to purify oneself or to wage a holy struggle for a moral goal, risks giving these murderers the religious legitimacy they desperately seek but in no way deserve.
A legitimate jihad. And moving right along, the nominee for Secretary of State, John Kerry. I voted for the $87 billion before I voted against it. The number one reason he should not become the face of America abroad is because he once accused our brave U.S. troops of the following.
They had personally raped, cut off ears, cut off heads, taped wires from portable telephones to human genitals and turned up the power, cut off limbs, blown up bodies, randomly shot at civilians.
By the way, he did a similar thing in the Iraq War. And then there's Chuck Hagel, the nominee for Defense Secretary. And with his rocky past on Iran, well, it's no wonder that this choice is being questioned. For example, July 2001, he voted against extending sanctions on the country. In 2007, he voted against calling the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist group. July 2008, he recommended establishing a U.S. diplomatic mission in Tehran. And in his book in 2008, he suggested the U.S. could live with a nuclear Iran. And last, but certainly not least, the nominee for Treasury Secretary, Jack Lew, Mr. John Hancock himself, who falsely claimed the Obama budget would not add to the debt. Listen.
Senator, I think it's an accurate statement that our current spending will not be increasing the debt.
Joining me now with her own opinions on these subprime nominees, author and columnist. How are you? Ann Coulter, good to see you. There you go.
We're in the middle of a flu epidemic.
Yeah.
No handshaking.
This to me, so let me see. Jihad is legitimate. Then we've got a guy that can't even say the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is a terror group.
Right.
Nor Hezbollah. I mean, I just read it. So what's your reaction?
Right. Well, this is an old liberal trick. It's like the scorched earth policy to argumentation. They retreat an argument, burning the English language as they go. So we can't call them jihadists. We can't call it a war on terrorism. We can't call it. Just tell us what to call it, and we'll have the debate. But of course, as I'm sure you guessed, my principal objection to this list of nominees is that they are all white men, Sean Hannity. And the lack of diversity just shocks me.
What happened to the lack of What happened here? This is an outrage. As a matter of fact, maybe he needs a book of binders. Just thought.
You could borrow Mitt Romney's.
You could borrow Mitt Romney's book of binders.
Well, as you know, I just got back from England, which they have not bought into this whole diversity enthusiasm, which raises the important point that on the gun crimes, we keep hearing how low they are in Europe, and they're so low when they have no guns. If you compare white populations, we have the same murder rate as Belgium. So perhaps it's not a gun problem. It is a demographic problem, which liberals are the ones are pushing. Let's get more Colin Fergusons and more whoever the guy was who shot up Fort Hood. Why are they coming in to begin with?
Hassan is Fort Hood.
Hassan.
All right. So you hear that they may come out. This was on Drudges. I'm coming down here tonight, and I couldn't believe it. Just breaking a short time ago. 19 Obama executive orders. What happens if he tries to bypass Congress on the Second Amendment and bypass Congress on Article 1, Section 7 and use the 14th Amendment? What happens?
On guns?
On guns and on the debt ceiling. If he shreds the Constitution, want me to say it that way? If the imperial president shreds the Constitution?
I suspect if he tried to do it on guns, even he wouldn't do that. I mean, luckily, we've recently had the Supreme Court ruling.
Biden said it may be as many as 19 executive orders.
Yeah, I think
tomorrow.
that for guns, they'd probably try to do it on ammunition and
clips.
I think we should, respond with the next Republican president having executive orders. We won't ban abortion. We will just ban abortionists and abortion clinics. How would that be? They're not serious about doing anything about shootings in America. Dianne Feinstein has a concealed carry permit for good reasons.
Did you see what I played the clip of her?
We did it on radio today, and I support her on that. She was in danger. So are other Americans, including women like herself. The fastest growing group of gun owners are single women.
Right.
What are women supposed to do who are in danger? And this business that New York is pushing through about banning the extra capacity magazines.
7 bullets.
Okay,
7.
like all liberal solutions, this has nothing to do with the problem we're supposed to be addressing. If you are going into a gun-free zone, as all of these mass shooters do, all but one since 1950 have shot up gun-free zones, you have time to drop the magazine and insert another one. You have time and preparation to have more than one gun. It's only if you are the victim of a home invasion, as that woman in Georgia was last week. She and her children she sees a man outside the window. Her husband's away. She runs to the top floor. She hides in a closet. The intruder opens the door, and God bless her, she shot.
She hid in the crawl space, and this guy found her.
She shot with 6 bullets in her gun. She shot all 6. Only 5 hit the intruder, which is very good when you are a panicked woman protecting your children, and probably not constantly down at the gun range. She hit him in the face and neck 5 times, and yet he not only lived, he lived to flee in a car. What if there had been 2 intruders? What if she had not been as good a shot and only 3 of the bullets had hit her or hit the intruder? It's when you have a home invasion that you need a large capacity magazine, especially if you are a female who isn't constantly at the gun range.
Very well said. I think that is probably the strongest argument, Ms. Coulter, that I have heard about the clip argument and the bullet argument in New York. I don't know what you do in New York.
Do you remember?
Are we going to be? Are you going to arrest people that use 8 bullets in a home invasion?
Well, they're not arresting David Gregory. No, like all other Obama rules, all the gun rules do not apply to Dianne Feinstein or David Gregory. I would also remind you that when Colin Ferguson shot up the LIIR, no one had a gun. He stopped and reloaded. It doesn't stop a multiple victim public shooter. You can bring lots of guns. And, oh, by the way, they're lawbreakers. They might have an extra capacity magazine on them. It's the person who is defending her home who needs the extra capacity magazine.
I got to run. Good to see you. Thank you.